All right, guys. Sorry, a bit late. That's on me. That's on me. I'm gonna wear that one today. But when we started this show, like we just kind of had a few goals in mind, right? It was share our love for these games with others, right? Because we were in the streets every day. We love these games. We're talking about these games. Let's do that with others, right? We're like, let's build some community to learn and get better at these games collectively. Then we try to bridge the gap between the players and the builders of these games, and then to help improve on how these games are built and played. And now we also like to have the conversations that nobody else is having on how we can improve these games in the future. And I think that conversation for today is going to be based on the Randle situation of last night and the Embiid situation of today. So, for those who are not in the know or not in the hoop streets, this kind of goes back to the conversations we had around the Super Bowl, right? Where we have these massive contests with two gamers, and funny shit happens in certain drafts, right? And what happens with their back end of the site is 0.1% outcome of a given draft then gets reviewed, right? And this is what we know. These are the rules we subscribe to play these games. I've been a proponent of all drafts should count. That's kind of like a different conversation or a segue of this conversation. But what happened last night was basically 6th-round Julius Randle happened because of a Q tag multiple times. Some of those were thrown out, others were not thrown out. One was in the lead for a good portion of the time, and then one of those teams happened to a 4th-round Randle team took down the prize. Right? Shout out Nick, very nice, well constructed, smart, beautiful team. But it leads to these conversations where the Discord is kind of going back and forth with, I'm building out a portfolio. How do I factor this into my decision making? That some of my drafts will be thrown out, and all this kind of conversations then ensue, right? So I just kind of want to lead the show with this. I kind of want to share my exposures and then kind of share my thoughts based on it. I know you guys haven't been as vested in the playoff streets for hoops as I have been in recent memory. That's kind of why I think I was just kind of leading the charge here. But just overall, guys, like anything to add before I kind of pull up some things or some overarching thoughts?
Yeah. Do you think if Joel Embiid, I know he was truly doubtful, but
Yeah.
hypothetical situation here, in these past 2 days, if he was a Q tag instead of a doubtful tag, would his ADP still be where it was? Because the people you're swapping for suck. So
Mhm.
do you think we would have had something similar like this if he was a Q tag and swap eligible?
I think we probably would have had the exact same scenario as Randall last night. Yeah.
Okay.
I think he would have. I think there'd probably obviously be a little bit more of a premium on a guy like Embiid, and people would just eat the Q tag variants. But kind of where I was going with this in showing my exposures is I built an entire portfolio around the fact that I had 6th-round Julius Randle in the bag, right? And then 6th-round Julius Randle gets taken away from me. And now it's kind of like, well, my entire game theory of my 100 and whatever entries were based on the fact that I had that. So I think I can illustrate I can better answer your question with an illustration here, Nez. And I don't want to make this about like my teams or anything like this. Hey, this is Chad's BBM4 tool. Little sneak peek, or I'm sure people have looked at it already, but we will be looking at that when we jump into these BBM4 drafts here. Okay, so here's the first night. Here's the Embiid night. It doesn't go low enough to show. I had 19% doubtful tag Embiid. Embiid does not play. Those lineups are dead. I am not compensated. I am not reimbursed for the chance I took on Embiid there, right? Then the following day, or I guess this would have been the previous day, when Randall was the kind of a Q tag, but more doubtful, I took an extreme Obi Toppin stance, right? 54%. I'm taking no Julius Randle. I'm taking this. If Julius Randle plays this game, I am not compensated for all my Obi Toppin ownership, right? Then all of a sudden, you build a portfolio for last night's games where I took an extreme stance on Julius Randle playing, had none of the other leverage pieces as that, and I continued to draft Randle knowing I had 6th-round Randle bags, right? So I just kind of wanted to like show a macro view of this for people because it's a full puzzle piece put together because you can see in the first one when I knew I had no Paul Reed and I knew 6th-round Paul Reed existed. Well, what do? I ape in on Harden, I ape in on Maxey, I ape in on Melton, and I full fade Paul Reed, right?
Mhm.
So it just goes to show that like the entirety of players' portfolios go into this decision making process. And then when you pull away 6th-round Randall from my portfolio last night, I'm fucking dead and paying the rate, because I'm built an entire game plan around the fact that I know that. And then we go into today's slate and it's like, hey, I know that Embiid 6th-round D tag exists right now. Well, now I'm not even going to play the slate,
Mhm.
right? Because it creates this dynamic. But then now in the back of my mind, it's like, well, will some of those lineups be taken away because they're 0.1%? Now we'll put it in. Anyways, I'm not trying to do this as like, whoa, sad as me, whatever. Like, we know the rules of Underdog. We know this sort of thing. There's a lot to digest. There's a lot to talk about. But I just wanted to illustrate it for people, like what goes into this, because I understand and empathize with those who were very upset last night and very upset within our Discord. I was in the same boat. I didn't vocalize it in the same manner, but I just wanted to share that, like, hey, man, I understand. We get it. This community understands. We get it. It's part of the game, but how do we better improve this going forward to make it not part of the game? And some portion of me is lineups are never thrown out, period. Because I mean, period being asterisk caveat unless clear collusion can be proven and a draft was cheated,
Yeah.
right? Because we saw it with the Super Bowl contest, right? And we had Rudman on, and he's like, "Yep, we vetted all the stuff and whatever." They're doing their due diligence on the back end, right?
Mhm.
It's just a conversation that I just really wanted to have and lead with today because so many people were discussing it and whatever.
Yeah,
Do you
it's
have
weird. It's weird that they like didn't. It's weird that they threw out the 6th-round Randall when they weren't like just because they were rare. When we've had situations like this in the past where it was a decision point that was it
Mhm.
was like a strategy on the slate. Like, do you want to take that chance or not? And those lineups stayed. Like we saw 6th
Right.
round Luca take down thousands of dollars, and they were never taken away there. So one of the things for us that that is like a reoccurring thing is the transparency that
Mhm.
that doesn't exist when drafts are deleted. Very little to no communication unless asked for as far
Mhm.
as like what went into the thought process there. So that's something that for the health of the games, I think the size of the contest, like these are still going to fill regardless. Like, yeah, like
Right.
our community makes up a good chunk of the entries, but this is still going to fill. But that doesn't mean that the games are in a healthy spot. And for them to get
Mhm.
into a healthy spot, I mean, we can only say it so many times, and the contests are still going to fill, so it's not that important to them. But the transparency and the communication just has to be improved. That's the thing that comes that's the only thing to come from this.
Yeah, and I think we've done a lot to get to this point, right? We've done a lot of good to get to this point, but there just still are these little things to iron out, and they always basically come on these two games, large entry, like large amount of entries and small amount of games is kind of like the thesis for how these occur. One thing I just wanted to add here that Chip just said in the chat, if I can find it again. Um, it's the no ADP contest, right? And it presents a couple problems because ADP is like a fixture, and these drafts kind of need like a fixture or relied upon resource that is a constant that doesn't rapidly fluctuate, right? Like in DFS, for instance, it didn't matter if Embiid played tonight. That's his price tag, right? Paul Reed's price tag that's the price tag. And certain guys become chalk or certain guys become unplayable because of that constant, right? And ADP is representative of that constant because it takes a little bit for market to catch up. The tough thing with the projection, and I know we've talked about this in the past, as I understand it, out tags, Q tags, doubtful tags come from Underdog, and projections come from a third party site that they update at their own interval or whatever, right? But we basically go from a guy who has a 0 projection today, who's now has the largest projection on the slate in Embiid, right? And I know that's kind of like out of their control, but I think we might be better just locking projections, locking them at the start of when the slate starts if you want to go the no ADP route, because Obi Toppin became the default swap for every single person who had Julius Randle the other day. So then I was kind of like, well, I thought I created leverage, but I didn't actually create leverage. And now I just have Obi Toppin in the 6th and they have Obi Toppin in the 4th instead. And like,
I think
that
it would be
leverage,
disingenuous to keep projections the same though,
okay,
especially,
yeah,
because if Embiid is truly doubtful, and he truly was, and then he comes in, like, you can't leave that as, that's gonna just for the you have it would be disingenuous to leave that at a 0 when you know that he's
okay,
playing. And I know that
that's
people
fine.
don't really use I don't think anybody actually uses the projection column to make any decisions. But I could be mistaken, and maybe people, but I'm sure that 0 projection does throw some people off, especially if you know that he missed games and he has the knee problem. So I get what you're saying though. I totally
Yeah,
understand that, like, you lose leverage as a player when
right.
people get bailed out by default swaps, like
Yeah.
you do. But that's how they want, they straight up told us that that's how they want this to be. They want this to be simple, and they want it to be easy for people that aren't like us
Right.
to
Sure.
get in and win. So
Yeah, that's a really good
that's one
point.
thing that isn't going to change.
Yeah. So, anyways, I think we did a nice job of illustrating what it looks like from the player's side, what it looks like from their side, kind of how we arrive here. I think the big question that I would ask both of you is, what do we think the process to improve this going forward, right? Because I don't want to shit on the entity. I love this site. I love this platform. I love what we do in tandem with them. What do we do going forward in playing these contests? Does this just become, hey, I just sit out 2-game slates now? Or how do I improve the 2-gamer for us, right? For us hardo users.
Yeah. Before you just chime in, because I want to hear your thoughts on this. I think just getting ADP on these
Mhm.
non-6-person contests,
Okay.
I mean, I know, it truly just cannot be like that insanely, you know, taxing and time consuming to
To
add
put them on the
ADP
3-gamers. Yeah.
on the 3-gamers, on the 4-gamers. Like,
Yeah.
it cannot, the data that we're asking for is it's aggregate data. You have it all.
Hmm.
It's an average draft position. We're not asking for the world here, and that would clear up so many of these things, because then Embiid and Randle would have ADPs, and the Randle situation is different, but it's mostly just for the doubtful tag stuff. Like, you would see that people are drafting them, and then they would be in your line of sight. And same with Paul Reed. Paul Reed would have been up there in your line of sight. It's I don't want to say it's inexcusable, but like, it's really not that hard to get
Yeah.
ADP data for smaller lobbies. You do
Yeah.
it
I
for
mean,
best ball for 12 team. You do it for
uh-huh.
6-person team and battle royales.
Right.
It's not that hard.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. Numi, anything to add? Any thoughts here as well?
No, I think ADP, that's the number one thing that would make sense in my mind.
Hmm.
It's having that constant. Like you said, I don't know where I stand. I mean, you just throwing that out there, I'd have to think about the projection, because I think it both makes sense to have them locked, and then also being disingenuous, because like you said, that guy that now is still a 0 come, now through up lock time, is actually the highest on the slate. So that could just be a little, so I
What if you
get
did
that.
both? What if you
Um,
locked projections?
okay.
What if you locked projections and had ADP?
Well, that's the thing. I think if you locked projections and then had ADP, that would be, I think that would be fine, because you would see where Joel Embiid is actually going. You'd be like,
Right.
okay, he has a 0, but I mean, then you can go in and see, and they would obviously have to put their projections are locked once the contest is created. So you can be like, well, why is this projection up? That's a simple thing. They're not changing projections. They're static. They're going to be that way from when contest lock to end. The only thing that's going to change is ADP. Now, I agree with Nez. It shouldn't be that hard to get into the information, because the one thing that we ask for over and over again that we are going to need is we need to be able to look at draft boards from these teams. And the fact that I can go into a private draft and I can look at the draft board and look at everything, and they're saving that, but we can't save them for a tournament. Like, that's just going to be one thing that people are going to continue to ask for. And I think that's going to be a staple of what we need in terms of if lineups are going to be thrown out with that. That's one thing, to be able to basically click on a guy's lineup or click on their draft, click the draft board and be like, how was this constructed? Oh, you saw this user was in here doing this and yada, yada. Like, because to be clear, to be honest, like, I agree with you, John. We've always been on the boat. I don't think they should be thrown out unless it's pure collusion.
Yeah.
Like, ID, like, an IP address in the same room. You see them doing it in a couple drafts, like, boom, that stuff. Like, otherwise, from the NFL drafts, where I stand. I've always been like, there should be, what's the point of doing the volume game, like just last night, to then just all of a sudden, boom, gone. So yeah, I'm in total agreement with you. But I think a fix kind of right now would be to these 2 gamers adding ADP would be like a step forward. And kind of see how that plays out.
I think there's there's 2 things that I just kind of want to close with. I do think there is skill in getting Randle to fall to the 6th round. I think there is skill, like, I think that's understanding that, hey, I'm going to build a portfolio, not just one. I'm taking a gamble here by passing on 4th round Randle, by 5th round Randle. I think that's skill, man. Or I recognize that there's 2 non-badge players in this room. Or I recognize that, hey, Neumy's in the 3rd slot. Now all of a sudden I have to take Randle in the 5th because I know Neumy's going to take him in the 6th. There is so much meta and there's so much game, right? And I always equate it to the poker stuff where it's like, the richest players I know, the guys who made more money than I did in poker, they didn't battle the sharps every day. They weren't the best players in the world. They were the ones who found the best leverage, right? And their leverage was finding soft game conditions, playing weaker opponents, playing at 2 a.m. when everybody else is sleeping. Like, there's a piece of leverage there. Like, if I stayed up all night long trying to fill these drafts, right? You don't think my drafts would look considerably better than just drafting against Crutches, Andy, and John Boy all day, right? You know what I mean? So I do think there is created leverage there. And then the other thing I want to say is the 0.1%, the review, and then the thrown out is very interesting because we did see a couple 6th round Randles get through. And this is no disrespect to Big John's lineup that was leading by 16 points after the first game in first there. It was by far the shittiest Julius Randle lineup, like the shittiest 6th round Julius Randle lineup. That's why I didn't get flagged, right? But it was still 6th round Julius Randle. But because he got the swap out of Butler and now all of a sudden Strus is in there and whatever, it made the lineup look like it wasn't flaggable, right? Because it didn't matter that he got Randle in the 6th at that point in time, because that whole, it could have been 4th round Randle in that lineup, right? Anyways,
I'll just say I agree with you 100%. When it didn't work out, Randle ended up getting hurt like at halftime. I got that 6th round Randle team in the heat check. 2 non-badge players. I did the same thing. It's like all of a sudden I saw Randle in the 3rd. I'm like, well, I'm going to push him to the 4th.
Yeah.
Whoa, he's in the 5th. He has Brunson. Is he going to take him? Like,
right.
It's all of a sudden it's like, so yeah, it is 100%.
It's a meta game, right?
It's 100% a skill. And one thing I'll say, I just wanted to do a little research on the side. I did a single game NBA for tonight, private lobby. There is ADP. There is ADP in it. You can save
in the private lobby.
In the private lobby.
Yeah.
Joel Embiid is a 9.5 ADP with a 55 projection. So it's playing out exactly how I sent you a screenshot in Discord. it's
Okay,
plain.
yeah.
And funny thing is, I didn't notice that, and you're gonna see the screenshot. I didn't click Embiid. I'm kind of a fool. I was talking to you guys and just trying to get the example.
Thanks for paying the private lobby rate, Neumy.
So let's not dig too far into that chat when you see that Joel Embiid's in the queue and I did not take him. But yeah, it's just interesting. Yeah, that's what we have in a single game. That's what the lobby is looking like. Like that's what we're working with. You can go and I can bring up my board now, and it's exactly how we kind of just laid out how we would hope these 1-2 game contests would be, where if projections did change or static, whatever, you can see they obviously did change to the 55. He still now is going up in this ADP. Like at one point he wasn't being drafted and now he's slowly going up. So
right. Yeah, which is kind of how I think it should be, right? Like
I agree.
Yeah, it's just very interesting. Anyways, it was an important conversation to have, and like always, I like to end with a solution. I don't want this to be like, hey, this is dumping on the site that we love or anything like this. It's just, it was top of mind. It was a conversation that everybody had in the Discord, and I think we just came on and did like a diplomatic thought process of it, right? Like, I think, did we do our due diligence, or is there anything else we need to say?
No, I think we did a pretty good job of that. I think one thing that we should, I think would be good to talk about that's top of mind is, there are 6-round Embiid teams in this contest, and we should operate under the assumption that they will stay. And my hot take, and this is a little out of left field, I think we should maybe do an exercise in like a sheet or something to kind of like hypothesize what these 6-round Embiid teams look like, because in my opinion, like, I don't think, and maybe this is like me being naive, I don't think the 6-round Embiid teams are like locks to do better than people that draft right now. Is that crazy?
Well,
like, I feel like the player pool is kind of deep today.
That and how many I saw a lot of people that did 70, 100 plus maxed it out, and they were talking about they didn't really see that many Embiid teams even being drafted. So
yeah,
I guess it's how much was Embiid drafted in this amount of time that, or in the amount of time this contest has been open.
Nick said in the Discord there, Nick was last night's champion. Again, shout out.
Yes.
But
Shout out,
he said that he did about 70 last night before the Embiid news. Truly a sicko. I guess that's what you do when you're coming off the big scoop. But
house money will change people.
Yeah. A little $6K dump into the account will push your boundaries the next day. But out of those 70, he said he only saw Embiid get drafted 3 times.
That's
wild. That is wild, because if you think back, if you think back to game 1 of this series, of my first 20 drafts, I took him 15 times. Yeah. And that's just me. So, obviously, granted, my risk tolerance, I've been very vocal about my risk tolerance relative to the player pool probably. But it's interesting. It's interesting because I do think there will be less 6-round Embiid teams than there were. The big caveat being he is going to be 100% owned as soon as the Marcus Smart news comes down. Now, I am not entirely scared about it. He has a chest contusion. He came back into the game last game. You could see him holding his chest the whole time. Mm-hmm. If there's a dude I'm going to bet on playing a basketball game, it's fucking Marcus Smart, right? Like, this dude is a dog, and like, he's got green hair. Like, you don't think this guy's got Celtic pride through and through? Gonna sit it out with a little boo-boo on his chest? No chance. But hypothetically speaking, if they do decide to sit Smart and do something like that, Embiid is going to be, I looked at it, it was 32% filled when we got the Embiid news. Embiid is going to be owned at a 100% frequency because Smart's going to get swapped everyone there, right?
Is it really that that bearish on his outlook to play? Is that the latest? Is that like Smart is like not?
No, that's
no. I'm
okay.
Purely hypothetical.
Yeah,
I think, gun to my head, like, he's playing tonight, right?
Yeah.
Like, Marcus Smart is playing, and this is probably a non-issue. And yes, then I kind of agree with your line of thinking that there is still some very good leverage. And one thing I will add that's different between this slate and last night's slate is you can get some very interesting big name combinatorial ownership at the top of drafts that wasn't available for the first 32% of drafts because nobody was taking Embiid. Now you throw Embiid into that top 6 and combinations of like LeBron AD all of a sudden become available because somebody jumps the shark on Steph and Harden, or combinations of Steph plus AD or Steph plus. Yeah. So I kind of do think that there is still reason to draft tonight. I wouldn't be entirely scared off of the Embiid stuff. I will just be playing lower volume, I believe.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, I truly don't think that these 6-round Embiid teams are like locks. I don't know, man. I like the player pool today. I don't know what
Fair enough.
I don't know what to say, man. I like the 3-hole.
So I haven't done any. It's 3-mans, right?
Yep.
I will say, yeah. Okay, so just trying to look at this here, like 3.
Oh, sorry.
3.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 4-mans. Okay. I will say,
shows how much I pay attention.
I mean, you can like the player pool all you want, but no one is the MVP and no one's Joel Embiid. Even the only person on this slate that it is close is Anthony Davis. So, I mean, if there is truly a more than we think, a good amount, like healthy amount, then yeah, it is something to be a little scared about. I will say. I would personally be a little scared of those teams. But like we said, they have to hit the 6-leg parlay. They have to fill out the rest of their team correctly.
Yeah. So for context, as soon as the news dropped, like a fish, I'm like 3 lobbies. Let's go. And I got and the Embiid teams that I have right now are Embiid.
I think this is good, Park. Sorry, I was reading before you were speaking. Sorry. Yeah, no, I think this is fine, Park. Like, there's going to be teams that have him in the 6th and stuff. I think it's fine.
I don't think that they'll get canceled. But we'll have to just wait and see. So I have like a LeBron Embiid with D'Angelo Russell and Draymond as like the next 2 picks. And then the other Embiid team I have is a Steph Embiid with Draymond and D'Angelo Russell once again.
Yeah, those are impossible now.
Yeah, and I did, those are 2nd round. You know what I mean? So like,
right.
We'll have to see what it looks like now, but I'm just like,
see,
I don't know.
Now my mind right now goes, I full fade Embiid because I'm going. I don't want Embiid.
I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah, because
only take him in the 2nd.
Right. I know that leverage exists now. So now the question is, do you guys like Tatum or AD better?
I think Neumy would say AD. And I would agree.
Okay. I mean, you could make the argument, I think, like an angry Tatum at home, which I definitely I'll play into those narratives. Sure. But I mean, I think AD is kind of out to prove that everyone in the media, Shaq and all these boys, he's soft. He's made it glad. Like he's just gonna, if he's healthy, he's just gonna be like, all right, Bron, like you save yourself for when we really, really need you in games, maybe like 6-7. I'll carry the heavy work, and he's just gonna. I mean, there's no one on Golden State. He is the big. I mean, that's one of the biggest mismatch problems in the playoffs right now.
I was shocked how effective Looney was on the glass last night, just in general.
Yeah, I didn't think that would last.
It's true.
I am scroll the F down. I like Wiggins.
Wiggins is due for a bounce back. He didn't have a stock last night, I don't think. So like that kind of like kept his numbers down. But if he goes for like a defensive explosion, like then that obviously vaults him, and he's able to do that.
Who do you guys like next? Clay?
I actually think you should go with a Philly guy if you're going to fade him.
Maybe Maxey or Harris. Yeah.
Okay. So if I'm going to fade Embiid, we play into the narrative that it's somebody else.
Yeah, not only are we fading him, but like, yeah, it's because like these guys are getting more usage.
And click play for me, just like, and I know it's box score, but just he's good for a good that feels like almost his ceiling so far this playoffs is 35 points. Like,
man, Hey, you guys want to talk real basketball for a second because I'm getting really vested in these playoffs and I've been watching a lot of hoops right now. You want to talk about
you
real
are
basketball?
The hoops guy, so
let's go.
Clay. And this is why I was over the field on Clay yesterday. And this was I took a big stand on Clay 40% yesterday because my hoops guy brain goes, you have a closeout center on the other team that is going to play the high screen and roll and come out and defend a perimeter shooter in Sabonis in that previous series, right? They're going to do all sorts of switching at the top. They're going to be doing this in out. AD stays in the paint. This is going to lead to so many high screen and roll, one-step drive, kick out, open three looks. And that's why I was like, yo, this is the Clay game. This is the Clay series.
You're going to hate what I say, but I like Derek White.
You like Derek White?
I would say Reeves.
I mean, why not
over
both?
Derek White, or Brogdon over Derek White. Like,
no,
I like
Brogdon. Click Reeves then first. Oh no, sorry. Yeah,
Reeves almost got 40 minutes yesterday.
I like Reeves.
Yeah.
I think he's I mean, I was wrong. Obviously, it's helped being around that, but the dude's a dog. The dude's a dog, and he's a player. So
Dude,
good. He's a great
for a while.
role player for having LeBron and AD on your team. But all right.
Okay, I got two thoughts here. Closing lineup last night, Reeves stayed on the floor. D'Angelo Russell was the rotational in-out piece for defense, offense.
Yep.
That's going to hamper him, not hamper Reeves. I like Reeves. I'll tell you why I like Brogdon more than Derek White, though. Derek White, for me, feels like a contingency play if Marcus Smart does not play, right? Like, he feels like he's going to be like that. When everyone's on the floor, he just feels like filler odd man out. I want Brogdon off the bench being the leader of the second unit when Jalen isn't on the floor, and be kind of like the second Jalen. I don't know. That's my thought.
Yeah, here we go.
I think we lean into this, right?
Yeah, I think Melton probably makes the most sense here. Paul Reed is probably like leaning way too hard into the fade. I don't think it's a good pick, but like, I am waiting and it could be tonight now that I say this. Dante DiVincenzo is going to have a game where he's the guy you need. It's going to happen at some point. Like, he is too good of a player. Like, I know he's not really involved in their rotations right now, but he's a legitimately like a good player, plays good D. And like, he could have, if Clay gets in foul trouble or something one of these nights, or, what have you, like, DiVincenzo is going to find himself in a winning lineup one of these nights. It's just a matter of when. Also, interesting wrinkle that these are Wednesday and Thursday, so we've got the multi-day sweat going here.
To that Brogdon and White thing, I just want to just chip in before we get over that.
Let's do the G State one first, because I got something really top of mind. I don't think it's going to be DiVincenzo. Like, I think it's going to be they want Peyton's defense on the floor, or they want Kuminga. That's kind of where I'm leaning with that. And I don't think either are like crazy viable like fantasy assets, but from like a basketball standpoint, I think they want them on the floor. They want one of those two on the floor. Anyways, Neumy, yes, sell me on Brogdon White.
Well, it's just like, so, I mean, I think Brogdon's ceiling is capped no matter what, due to him coming off the bench.
Right.
And I get the narrative of when Brown and Tatum's off, but the fact that it's the playoffs, these dudes are going to be off the court way less. And it's going to be a total of 3 minutes total that he doesn't have a Jason Tatum, a Jaylen Brown on the court with him at the same time, along with Horford. So like, Brogdon is, 80th percentile stocks. He's one of the best guards in the league for blocks. I mean, this dude can fill it up.
Not Brogdon.
White. Derek White. Yes, White. Yeah. Derek White can fill it up in the peripherals there, and then can also just have that Derek White game where
he's
all of a sudden
the best rebounding guards too.
And that and Brown and Tatum have shown willingness to defer to White often. When it's when White's on, they'll defer and kind of be like, it's so that's just why I kind of like when it comes to Brogdon and White, those two 1v1, I seem like I always go White. That's just my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, I think it's a really pivotal and interesting decision point on the slate right now. As you guys can see, I just stuck to the thesis here because I'm a man of principle at the moment.
No, I think you kind of have to. Like I said, I wouldn't take him unless he fell to the second, and he still might if you get a couple big brainers in there with
one question I wanted to ask you guys: how I played it and how I would do it. So I would say example was last night with Miami for Gabe Vincent, Kyle Lowry, and Caleb Martin. All three seem like the same plays: Brogdon, White, Smart. All three seem like the same plays.
Yep.
Yeah.
What I did when I was playing these and did like the 3 max or the $3.20 max, I would just pick one. And I would just be like, no, if I'm gonna get paid off, I'm just gonna have the right guy rather than spread my low volume or my low, around. I'm just gonna just pick one of the guys and have it be that game, because if one's going off and it's their game, it's definitely eating into another one of these, and it's mainly Brogdon. I think the two that can get there to kind of coexisting is Smart and White, if their stocks are bringing them along.
Yeah.
Let's go with the Jays.
Let's go.
Couldn't you see revenge game, Joel back in the Garden, just 50 apiece, and then one of them putting up like 65 or something?
That game is going to be sick. That's going to be
so
such
much
a good
fun.
game. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Pete, these playoffs kick ass.
I didn't know Pete went to that game. He was too busy worried about Joel not playing, and instead he saw just a hell of a game.
Vintage Harden, baby.
Vintage Jay Harden.
Yeah. Man,
that was awesome.
I think there's a couple really smart things in the chat I want to hit on right now. Bob suggesting that Maxey did struggle all year long against Boston, and that was a bit of a narrative, and then getting the points off volume and win. I think he's got a point here that I do kind of like Tobias more than him tonight. Or is it tonight? Yeah, tonight. This is the game that's tonight. Out of this grouping, who do you guys like?
Well, I think you just said it. Let's go Tobias, huh?
You want to go Tobias?
Sure.
Lean into this game?
Shout out Bob, big Philly guy. So Bob definitely knows his Philly sports. So.
On Friday, he called out DeAndre Swift to the Eagles. So he's like, I could see Swift to the Eagles. They have Georgia ties with Peterson loves them. He set out another thing, and we just kind of like, it's interesting.
He's got his ear to the Broad Street, man. He knows.
Oh, yes, sir.
The Broad Street. Yo, GM, Big John. We're just dunking all over your lineup from last night. Don't mind us, buddy.
Just kidding, he's coming
man.
after you.
No, it was a great lineup. Good for him. RT99 chiming in. This is how I feel, man. This is exactly how I feel. Why does the 0.1% even exist? Because you create a point of leverage for yourself and then it gets ripped away. So it kind of disincentivizes volume. Because isn't that what we're all just trying to do in BBM right now? We're all just trying to find that lineup, right? Isn't that the entire thesis of an entire offseason and one isolated contest? And you're trying to find 1 in 67.
Yeah, make sure you sub and stick around. We'll tell you how to win BBM.
Yeah, damn straight.
And I mean, like you said, it's BBM and one little daily. Everyone's drafting the night before because as soon as the contest drops, there's instantly leverage and how to,
Russell comes all the way back to us, which is shocking. I think we just take that.
I've been taking Russell over Reeves, and it's kind of an ADP game, kind of like Russell's off. I think Russell is a good matchup against the Warriors. Like Reeves,
his shooting's getting hot too,
dude. It's so, and he's like so good, man. He really does look really good.
Yeah.
I think you can make an argument too. Just I know we've taken Jason Tatum 2, we've taken AD 1.
Mm-hmm.
Steph at home, coming off a loss, 60 is coming, right? Like he's going absolutely
it's in his bag
nuclear.
For sure. At any time, Steph could just be like, I'm feeling it today, so I'm just gonna pull up from the logo 15 times and
he's gonna pull it. He's gonna pull a Jordan Poole.
Did you see the comments that Kerr had?
I did not.
For like pregame, he was basically, I need to find. It was such a shot at Jordan Poole. It was such a shot at Jordan. Basically,
That's
it was like I hope we don't think we can just dribble in, like right into these guys' defense and expect to just get easy layups with AD there. Like because they just did it with Sabonis.
Jordan Poole just wants to jelly some finger rolls around the rim. Like just let the dude play ball.
I mean.
When he sees that baddie on the sideline, though.
The fact that he jacked that shot up from 30 feet with 10 left on the clock. I know he had 6 threes already. He was feeling it. I was team Pool Party was not even going to be on the floor last night. I was team Pool Party was big regression candidate. They were going to go the defense route. He wasn't going to be out there. They would have Peyton in the closing lineup. That was my thought process. It was very interesting to just see him even out there. Granted, they were trailing and playing catch up. Maybe they need scorer on the floor kind of thing. but I thought we were going to see suppressed Jordan Poole minutes for sure. And maybe last night kind of solidifies that. But I saw let's make this pick first here.
Yeah, this is interesting. I feel like I don't know who Hassan's going to take here, but
there is also a little bit of leverage narrative in the B-ball Paul going late like this, that you could galaxy brain your way into, like, Embiid's not 100%. There's some rotation, but I don't really think they like him that much. I think Schroeder in the closing lineup feels good.
That or Melton.
Melton. Okay, let's do the Melton. Let's do the Melton one because we got game stack and D'Angelo Russell plus Schroeder kind of like cancel one each other's value out.
Yeah, I think if there's any sort of negative correlation between two teammates, it does seem like Schroeder and Russell, because like Schroeder, like you said, like Russell was like a rotational piece, and it's because Schroeder was playing D.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this 30 rebounds incoming. Like this Looney stuff's getting crazy here. It's wild.
Yeah, they clearly they were just like, we do not want anything to do with the frail little James Wiseman when we got our big boy Looney there doing all of the dirty work. Like, what a just a fail of a pick that was. They could have had so many other options to that team that would have just been unreal.
Which
I
pick?
was reading
the James Wiseman pick.
Oh yeah, horrible.
Yeah,
so bad. I mean, obviously hindsight, but sorry, go ahead.
No. Ron Stewart, friend of the show, does really good stuff on his YouTube channel. Check him out if you don't watch his football stuff. He threw out a tweet last night that I had no idea.
Neither did I. I'm gonna find it while you talk about it.
Okay. When Looney was drafted, he was like a one and done guy at UCLA ? I think it was UCLA. And he was like a stretch 3, a stretch 4. Like he was a long, lanky 3-point shooter, like a 3-and-D guy. Like he was not this monstrosity of a rebounder and whatever. And he's completely pivoted his role, like kind of like gave me big. It's a terrible comp because nobody else is going to get it. He reminds me of Sam Bennett. Sam Bennett, NHL guy. He was taken in the top 3. He came into the league. He couldn't do a pull-up. He was supposed to be a big time scorer and whatever. If anybody wants to jump in and do BBM, we are jumping in BBM now. 2 more spots.
Damn.
Anyways, so Sam Bennett couldn't do a pull-up, whatever. Now he's nails and he's a fighter for Florida in the playoffs, and he's put on size and he's whatever. It gave me big vibes like that, where he just completely transitioned what he needed to do to stick around in the league. Here's Ron's tweet. There we go. Hit that with the like. It's how disrespectful of me to read it and not like it.
Wow. You gotta earn John's faves.
Yeah, do you ever, right? This guy was a one and done perimeter player at UCLA, shooting over 40% from 3 and had KD comps. Now he is Dennis Rodman light instead. I loved that so much. I thought it was beautiful.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, beautiful articulation there.
So I'm gonna read some Bleacher Report scouting stuff.
Sure.
Well, I'm gonna find some good talking points after I peruse through this, but like, yeah, they're just
Maybe
talking.
Should we take CMC?
Oh, you got 101. I mean, it's your team.
Nah, we'll do it for you, buddy. We will do it for you. We will take the best wide receiver in football at this point in time. Maybe.
Is it? Is it? God damn you! Is it? Is it between CMC and JJ, or do you throw Chase in there too? Because how I kind of view it, and I think others, it's like right now in this juncture, is like I'm just going to let ADP dictate the top 3, where it's like I'm going to try and get JJ at 1, and then depending on it's fluctuated between CMC and Chase. But like if you're getting CMC and you're pulling these guys above JJ, you're going to get no JJ. So that's the only thing.
I think Pete had a really sharp point on Best Ball Breakfast the other day, and it's something that we've talked about from a game theory standpoint in the past, is just kind of like the randomization of 101 with the distribution frequency, blah, 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 blah. If you don't take Jefferson at 101, you're going to automatically be under the field to him. Do you want to be under the field to Justin Jefferson? Probably not. So I do think we are going to see like kind of like the top. I think the top 5 is going to settle where it's going to be some combination of Chase, JJ, CMC, Cup, and Kelsey, I think is what's going to happen. Or maybe Bijan goes over Kelsey and then Cup, then Tyreek, something like that. I think that's kind of where we're going to settle. People are forgetting how fucking good Cooper Cup is right now. Anyways, Nez, yes, give me the scouting report.
It's kind of like exactly who he is. You know, they're like the big like plus for Looney is like the stuff that you can't really measure, which, well, other than like the rebounding and his 7'3" wingspan, which is like the energy he brings. And, you know, just kind of like saying like how he could be like an excellent role player. And I didn't see any KD comps. I'll have to do some better Google searching to see who the hell is comparing him to Kevin Durant. But
that might be hyperbole.
Yeah, I want to know where that came from. However, no, it was a nice some nice like positive reports on like what Looney can bring and a lot about his rebounding, which clearly came to fruition, which is like kind of cool, you know, like to see that pan out.
Yeah, that's sweet that happens. GA actual puck guy dunking all over me saying he's only nails because he plays with Kachuk. That's probably true. Ben, this is a very viable strategy. He's saying that he's purposely getting under on JJ and trying to max his chase exposure and trying to like anticipate the fact that Jamar is the actual one and get over the field on that. Entirely viable strategy. This is exactly what I tried to execute last year with CMC over JT. And I mean, I think there's so many smart ways to approach this contest, right? And it's all a risk tolerance exercise. It's what we've talked about with the dailies. It's what we've talked about, you know, hey, if you went 100% Acuna over Judge right now, you're looking like a savant in the dingers, right? But, you know, that could easily play out. The pendulum swings the other way, right? So
bold though. It is bold fading the best wide receiver in the NFL. So good luck. good luck with that endeavor.
And the thing with like the wideouts, like that's, I mean, and this is probably like common knowledge for some people, maybe for not. It's like the way like the CMC over JT thing was more. It was more than just like it wasn't even like anything to do with injury. It was more just like CMC is talented, and if CMC is on the field, he's the best running back in the game. Give me him. But there was like that bust element with JT. It was like, well, like, you know, what's the offense going to be like? Can he do it again with the absurd efficiency, yada, yada. He's obviously a great player. Don't get me wrong. With the wideouts, like with just JJ and Chase and whatnot, it's like these guys seem like borderline bust proof outside of, God forbid, injury. Like, would you agree with that? Like that, like these, like it's so much hard, and it's kind of like the whole talking point of like the RB dead zone, which we are now kind of like warming up to as a community, because like, holy shit, these guys are on the field. I think we need running backs who are actually on the field, as opposed to these wish casting guys in the 15th through 20th round. But like, would you agree with that? That like,
I mean, I think that's I do agree with you. Yeah, I think it's an opportunity share argument, right? It's like their roles are absolutely stone guaranteed because they are such outliers. I think you can make the legendary upside case for a handful of running backs in that same regard, but then you factor in that they're 33% more likely to get injured, and all of a sudden, we should be taking these premium elite wide receivers. The narrative of football has changed over the last couple of years, right? Yeah, I definitely agree with your statement.
Mahomes falling this far, we got a sharp little room here, but is this where the buck stops?
Opting for his Tony Pollard boy there. He's a Dallas guy. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? I mean, Mahomes falling this far, is this a new norm or is this a value scoopville right here? What do you think, guys?
Devontae Smith.
Right.
Neumy, you can. What do you think though?
For me, it's Mahomes.
Okay,
let's do it.
The thing I like this too, and the thing is like he's really easy to stack. I mean, obviously you missed on the best stacking partner possible in Kelsey, but we have and other wide receivers that are available, but specifically who just re-signed to them. So I'm trying.
Okay,
I don't want to get
it.
our shares sniped from us, but
yeah. We don't know where ADP is going to settle for certain players. So what we think is a unique combination in the middle of or beginning of may wind up being chalky later down the road. But as of right now, JJ
basketball brain.
Yeah, I know, right? A Jefferson start with Devonta, with one of the running backs in Derrick Henry, Breece Hall, or I think Breece Hall is a very likely candidate to fall and start scooping some later ADPs on, or Josh Jacobs. That is going to be a very common combination at this point in time. Whether that ends up being true, I'm not entirely sure. I do think Derrick Henry should and will get steamed a little bit, alongside with Nick Chubb, I believe would be another one there. But just an interesting conversation here that, like, if we see the premium on quarterback stay high the remainder of the season, Mahomes plus Jefferson might not be attainable the remainder of the year.
We're running so pure, man.
I don't know, right?
But
we'll see. The opposite can happen, right?
I don't think it will. And then they slowly settle into that Well, something that's interesting is like they were talking about an ADP chasing how they kind of bumped up their ADPs, like, because when this ended in, like, I think the regular big board, not the super flex, their ADPs were basically kind of going around the 2-3 turn, where they would go, like, actually where this was. And all of a sudden this opened and, like, the QBs were pushed up like 5 spots. So that could very well be, like, they could very well just settle into this kind of range where they're going. So
yeah, many sharp people have talked how we've seen a resurgence in recent years about how the premium quarterback narrative is getting pushed and the field is adapting to that. Sorry, Nez, I kind of jumped to you there, but I really want to bring this up because I promised Chad that I would highlight the tool, and no better time to do so than right now. If you're not part of the Discord, go ahead, click the link below in the pinned messages tab of the main channel. Chad, aka Lee, with a bunch of numbers beside his name that I forget every single time. He is doing us a great service by building out what we did with the daily contest last year, where everybody who submits their draft board, he will then populate said draft boards into a Google Doc that is a shared resource for all of us and give us information like this. So he is telling us that the range of outcomes so far through the drafts in which we have done up until this point, shout out Chad, fucking legend, is evergreen statement. That through I believe he sent it to me in the DMs. Not every board that has been shared yet is fully put in, but I believe it's something like 25 something drafts so far. But we can go ahead, we can filter by this. We can see that, hey, Justin Jefferson has been stacked 38% of the time by the community. We can go ahead, we can scroll down to Patrick Mahomes' name here. We got Patrick Mahomes pulled up. He is stacked with a wide receiver 27% of the time. He is stacked with 2 players 31% of the time. He's stacked with 3, 15. We can go ahead and see what's going on there. And then we can see the percentage outcome, the percentile outcome of where he has fallen in drafts. So we have seen that he goes as high as 13.25 with a median ADP of 18, and he has fallen 75% of the time. He has fallen to that 20 range. So us getting him at 25 makes it look like a really nice value. And this sheet is going to get more and more important and way more useful the more we contribute to this by sharing our draft boards. And I personally see no reason not to share our draft boards with one another, because I don't have anything to hide. I think maybe hiding your own exposures, hiding your own combinatorial ownership, that's cool. But sharing the entirety of a draft, whatever, man. Yeah.
People are already sharing your draft, your teams. What's the point of just showing the draft board? Like, you know what I mean? You're showing off
Right.
your screenshots. And
Yeah.
for anyone that doesn't know, I did post my first drafts in there. I noticed there was like only like 20 to 25 people in that. That's about 100 less than it should be right now. So for anyone that doesn't know, again, in the Deposit Kingdom Discord, just click the BadgeBros little channel right there. Go to the thread icon, hashtag icon, top right. Boom, you'll see it under active threads, the BBM4 save draft board. So go in there. Yeah, like you said, start sharing that, get that data going. Yeah, I like that.
I'm a Drake London stan this year. I'm gonna have a lot of him. A lot of him. Yeah.
I think it's the bet on talent narrative. It's weird to say because if they are currently structured the way in which they are going to be incredibly run heavy again. Do you guys like Kittle here?
Can you click the running back button just to see like who, like, because we're not going to get any of these guys. That's Kittle or Swift. It's your. I'm going to put this in your call, but that's my.
Yeah, you make the call.
Let's go Kittle.
Okay.
Let's go Kittle, and this is a piss boy draft.
I think Swift has been falling, so that's why I don't think we should take Swift there.
Yeah, right. It would be a reach.
Let's talk about the London thing for a second here. We teased the other day that we think there could be a little smoke and mirrors, a little fire, little smoke and fire, I guess. Smoke and fire that maybe that's a potential landing spot for Tannehill, where they're an offense situated to win now, but they do also have Taylor Heineke. Heineke has proven himself to be quite serviceable in the past if Desmond Ridder is not the answer. We think it's going to be crazy heavy run first again, do we not? Given the fact that it's Arthur Smith and given the fact that they've added a run block tight end and they've added Bijan Robinson to that offense. What makes us like London?
London is just really talented. And the offense as a whole has improved. And yeah, they ran a lot last year and they're going to run a lot again this year, but that doesn't like deter me. You know, I'm betting on talent here, you know, and the target competition with Drake London is of course Kyle Pitts, which is like a pretty big deal, but like he's like a bona fide number one. I'm just like still like infatuated with how Drake London looked coming out of college. The way that he was so like, he was used in screens, he was used in the middle of the field and used like deep, like he was just so diverse and like, and he's not like a little guy either. Like, I just feel like he's just such a stud, man. And I'm just going to bet on that talent and bet on that, like, you know, vaulting him and being a value when it's all said and done. They also, the Falcons made like a lot of improvements to their team too. Like, I'm going to be really interested to see, I don't know if win totals came out yet, but I'm going to be really interested to see what their win total ends up being. And I'll probably take the over on whatever their wins will end up being. But let me try to find like a whole list of what they've done.
You better put your money where your mouth is. I don't know how many times I've heard you say something on stream and then me ask you if you did it and you go, "Oh, I didn't actually do it." I'm gonna put a little thing right here and said Nez said Falcons.
Put it on the whiteboard, Neumy.
Yeah,
write it on the board.
Yeah,
all of my
right on there, baby.
Literally, and
let me just do it.
Since you called me a coward, let me just say, all of my baseball season-long futures are all trending in the correct directions right now.
Well, because they're all on the Pirates, of course.
There's like 10 of them. Well, the Pirates make up for a big bulk of the
9 of 10
of the cash.
Oh,
but
okay.
Yeah, Orioles, Rangers, like we're rolling.
Oh, you are rolling.
I think your third should be a reach to get a unique combo.
Yeah, I mean, we might be over our skis on that comment right now. It might be too early for that. Like, staying tethered to any combination of ADP right now, because we've talked about this in terms of windows of drafting, right? And why the barbell has been a thing, and why, you know, I know Leone is working on a timing of draft article, because I do think that's going to be very illuminating, especially when we saw the two winners come from the same area and winners of the past come from the same-ish area. and maybe this barbell stuff is wrong, but in this window of time, this IKB, this I know better than the ADP that's out there, I mean, we filled only 3% of this contest. Worrying about combinatorial ownership at this moment in time doesn't feel perfect. You know what I mean? It feels a little premature.
Yeah, no, that's why I've been trying to just reach on guys that I think that are going to basically settle at a range a little bit higher. Like obviously a certain reach, but like Jahmyr Gibbs, Anthony Richardson, they've just been flying up boards. Like getting them when you see them kind of like sneaking into that queue, I've been more apt to take them. Like I feel like getting Richardson anywhere near pick 100 within like even 10 picks is going to be something in July that is just like, oh my gosh, you remember that? Do you remember when Anthony Richardson wasn't just a bona fide 7th moving up to a 6th round pick? Like this is going to be incredible. And just any type of profiles like that. I mean, a lot of it is rookies, but there's just spots that became, more clear after the draft. So I've just been trying to, be certain spots a little bit better. Or sorry, IKB a little spots.
Look at this team at the 3 right now, just absolutely ruining our lives. Just
we need to censor them. They shouldn't be. You don't look at team 3.
That's incredible. I love it so much.
And then they just went with it.
Hell yeah.
Let's go, baby. I think we go running back here, and I think maybe we go 2.
Okay.
I like Cam Akers and I like David Montgomery. I know I'm probably in the minority with both those sentences. I also really like James Conner.
I think James Conner actually makes a lot of sense for our first running back. That is just like guaranteeing touches.
Yeah.
You want to talk about draft winners? Like he is like top of the list.
And you want to talk about hashtag follow the money? Like they've paid him, they can't cut him. They're going to stay with him. Like basically,
we taking another RB or what do you think?
I mean, I would say another RB or Tony, man.
We could set up a nice little backdoor or a stack now.
Stack now or Rashad White if you wanted an RB would be my RB. So
let's stack now.
Yeah,
I think Rashad White's my favorite RB in that entire range.
He is my least favorite right now, I think, out of those 3.
I get both sides.
Who's there? It's his backfield.
Right. Yeah. No, I definitely agree with you there. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
the situation is good, right?
I get the Baker. I get that they could be the worst offense in the NFL, but like that's almost that it seems like it's beneficial for even if you whatever you have back there at quarterback, because if the quarterback's not playing well, that just seems more in line for just dump offs to get to the running back. And we saw what he did last year, literally like forcing to a 50-50 split with Lenny Fournette. I don't know. I just think right now that's someone that would only stands to rise, but maybe he falls if all of a sudden they get some type of like a signing or anything.
I mean, definitely a green arrow pointing up for his projected volume. That's there's no question there. But the question marks are obviously like, is the team going to be good? Is the offense going to be good enough? And is he a good enough player to like, is he worth this round of a pick? Because like we didn't see a ton out of him when he did play. I mean, he didn't really wow anybody. He didn't do enough to like completely like take over. Like they gave him the backfield job, but he didn't completely rip it away from.
He caught 50 balls.
So no, yeah, that's the big thing, right? I mean,
I know this is half point, so it's not as ideal, but still, like,
their pass rate over expectation is going to come down with Baker. They're gonna,
it will.
They're gonna play a different style of offense than the Tom Brady sling it 60 times that we saw at the end of the game or at the end of the season, where it's like, hey, Tom Brady, just will us into the playoffs, baby. Yeah, so we'll see what they do with Baker, but he has definitely shown.
I mean, he's gotten
intensity to pass catch. I don't know what the.
Well, and he's not a small back. Yeah. He's not a small guy. Like he's 215. He's 6 foot 215. So he
that magical number.
Yeah, he fits everything in terms of what we were looking at for running backs coming out of the draft. So it's like I've seen a lot of just people talk about, well, he's a smaller guy. Like he's going to fit that. But of course, last year I will say, he was terrible between the tackles. Like if you look up all the metrics, like he was not good. It wasn't that great. But like. Yeah, I just see no Lenny Fournette. I mean, for now, they cut him. There's just hilarious things about where Lenny's going and all this. But I'm not scared about Keyshawn Vaughn. So
yeah, they are probably going to add someone else, but he's the RB1, and like I said, volume definitely seems to be like a no-brainer. It's just a matter of like how effective he will be, and you can say the same thing with James Conner, but we have seen James Conner put up productive season, like more productive, like we've seen James Conner do it before. So that's like the difference there. And real quick, just looking at this Athletic article, so the Falcons were in like cap hell last year and a couple years with like Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. All this money gone, and then they signed or traded for 13 new players via free agency. They added 6 starters on defense, so like that doesn't really like do anything for us fantasy wise. But they for the offensive line, they signed Chris Lindstrom along with this tackle Caleb McGarry and Lorenzo Carter. I mean, they definitely like have made improvements to the team as a whole. So you could point to say, hey, better line play equals, more time for a quarterback to make things happen for his receivers. Also going to bode extremely well for Bijan. Yeah. I think we are rapidly approaching Bijan RB1 territory in BBM.
Very nice.
I like that. I got a little thing. I just want a little nugget I want to throw in there after we make these picks here. What are you thinking?
RB thirsty room. Holy shit.
Yeah, no doubt. Kind of like hung us out to drive it here.
So like I'm kind of team Penny out of those running backs that we're looking at. It doesn't have to be the pick, but I just,
You think we need running back right now, though? I think we need running back.
We do.
Okay, Penny. I'm also team Brian Robinson.
I like Brian. Yeah.
I am. Yeah, I think we're on an island for some reason there, but I don't think Brian Robinson is like this awful running back people think. I don't know, man.
I just think it's Antonio Gibson.
I think it's Sutton or like if we're just betting on talent here, I think it's Sutton or Robinson. Who do you guys prefer?
Yeah, go ahead with Sutton.
Let's go Sutton.
Okay. Sutton has a lot of uncertainty because he's probably not going to be a Denver Bronco, which could be good for him.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what they do after they picked up Judy's 5th-year option and they drafted Mims.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
see what they do.
One thing I want to
goes Tim Patrick route or
yeah, that's interesting. It's one thing I want to say is just a smart guy in the industry. He happened to win last year. I don't know if you guys know Pat Crane. One thing that I've been listening, he's been talking about is following just going straight to the source, which is hearing and listening to these GMs, the way they talk about their players, because like rather than getting these quotes and being like, oh, it's from a reporter. No, this is straight from the GM. This is straight from the source. So like that's the best place we can get it. Like, and one thing that I just two things. Like Chip's comment where he brought up they have Edmonds, they have Tucker, that right now that RB room seems pretty solidified. And 2, pre-draft praising White, calling him a stud who can basically carry the load in the backfield is another ringing endorsement for him. So nice. That's just one thing that I kind of like when it just the RB's in that range, why I guess I'm a little higher on White. But
no, I get it, man. I totally as it stands, like there's a lot of reasons to like him. I mean, there's a lot of like you can point to a lot of things. Like I'm not worried about if they enter the season. I think it would be a bad move. But if they enter the season with his backups being Chase Edmonds and Sean Tucker, I mean, that's wheels up.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Getting ahead of that's pretty smart. Maybe. Yeah, I'm not gonna pretend I know shit. It's May.
Right. I mean,
I'm just gonna
it's May. Exactly.
I'm just gonna try and mix in. Now I'm gonna mix in some White next draft. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I'm just sitting here. Yeah, it's so much fun. Here. But yeah, that's what I do think that I mean I won't push back on that at all. I think one signing, one anything. I do think it's a little bit more of a fragile pick that a lot of things could go basically wrong throughout the offseason.
And I'm hoping that happens because any signing they have, it's just going to be
still the number one
backup.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I welcome that. Yeah. Bring in Zeke. Yeah. Okay.
Cool. This is a very good, very good point by Chip here. He said there's a good tweet in the Discord about finalists were equally likely to be drafted regardless of months. I just want to like cautionary tale or like overarching thought is like, as much as all this data, I threw out a tweet about it the other day. As much as all this data on BBM and BBM of the past is like amazing, and Leone's best ball manifesto is great, and everything people are doing with the historical data, it's cautionary tale that it's only ever been 3 slates, right? Like it's 3 slates. So looking at maybe projected data or theoretical data or some of these best ball theory kind of things is more impactful and useful in my mind than looking at, hey, the last 2 years it's come from July, we draft in July, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just that all these conversations that we're going to progressively have, like that's just like the caveat and the asterisk, and it's what makes this contest so fun. And now we got the new wrinkle of the regular season stuff. So hey, how does that change our EV metrics? Like I was trying to do an EV calc on what each entry would do, because I did one last year, talked about it a bit on the 1 week season pod, and kind of what I thought each entry was going to be worth, kind of sight unseen. And then you can attribute an EV to a certain player if he's falling within these draft parameters, then whatever. We can go on and on. But throwing in the wrinkle of the regular season, okay, how's that change in expected value calc? Because you can prioritize it, or you can prioritize week 17, or you can prioritize. So it becomes like these are just moving targets, right? Everything is a moving target.
If you were to draft
Mhm.
if you were drafting and you were like, this draft, I am only focusing on the regular season. I'm only like, I don't give a shit about week 17. What
Mhm.
would you do differently?
It's a great question. I don't know. I'm not sure I've thought about it enough so to do that. I think the standard answer would to be lean into safety. It'd be like lean away from the rookies, lean into projectable volume, to lean into like some of those veteran players who do better earlier in the season. Whereas, like historically speaking, uh, wide receivers that are rookies pop later, rookie tight ends pop later or never. That kind of like thought process. I think that would be kind of the standard
Yeah.
stock answer. I don't know if that's right.
Mhm.
Maybe leaning
Well,
into some of the correlation for isolated weeks in the regular season opposed to in the finals. So leaning into some of that week 14 correlation.
I tell you
Maybe
what I
that's
would
a thought.
do,
Okay.
and this might be a hot take. Um, I would do a lot of single tight end
Very interesting. Okay.
with Kelsey, Andrews, the top four.
Okay.
I wouldn't do anything else other than that, and try to maybe use that extra draft spot on like a running back or a quarterback to try to just like get some more usable weeks there.
Mhm.
It kind of seems counterintuitive because you think like, oh, you're losing a bye week at the tight end position, but like
Sure.
that's like not a lot of points if that tight end is Kelsey and the tight ends that are gaining on you are not Travis Kelsey, like you don't really lose a lot there. But in the playoffs, it actually would be kind of negative to not have a backup. Um,
exactly, because if
it's,
that tight
yeah,
end, if that, yeah, if that,
yeah.
that
That
tight
was
end
kind
doesn't
of
Pete
go,
put it into really good terms.
I like
exactly.
that. I like small JP Ryan. We have a
I do
thin running
too.
back room right now, and if Javante's not ready for the beginning of the season, I think we can just go ahead and pencil him in as the starter. I like
Yeah.
that one, and we've seen what he's done as a pass catcher too. It's a real shame that Cousins just fell 20 picks in ADP, and then we didn't get to stack him with Jefferson there. I kind of like Kyler.
Can we scroll down a
Um,
little bit on the player pool?
yeah,
Um, I would say Elijah Mitchell, but we can take a luxury pick
okay,
on Kyler if you
I
would
like
like,
Elijah
but
Mitchell. Yeah.
I'm trying I would I'm trying not to punt running back like, and I thought I did a better job of it last year.
hmm
But I didn't make any finals last year in BBM, but
hmm
just not just like thinking I can just pick up spare parts at running back and
hmm
and draft a good team. Just putting more respect on the running back position, and I think this is a good. Jesus Christ, choking on myself. I
Well,
think that's a
so
good idea of doing that here.
what I think like it's just interesting is just looking at basically Crane's and King Cap's team. It's like the 0 RB team is the one that won the regular season prize.
Interesting,
And
right?
the running back, in Crane is the one that took down the main prize. So it's just like we've heard all that from the guys over and over, but like my 2 cents would be like, yeah, no, obviously not 0 running back. That's not that's not the build that's going to take down the regular season because it takes a while to get going. But
So like capital wise, like it was like 0 running back, but I mean like when in reality, it's like, but in execution, it's like they were starting run, you know what I mean? So it's the verbiage on it is all like like not to get in a whole like semantics argument, but it's like I think people I don't know. The semantics of quote unquote 0 RB is like interesting but it's easier to just when you talk about allocating draft capital to just refer to it as 0 RB.
And GA, that's exactly what Nez was talking about and what Pete said exactly for the solo tight end in the weeks of 15 or in the playoff weeks. If that tight end's the one you need, he's going to be the ownership's going to be incredible. In fact, that you're going to want him.
We saw it 2 years ago with Mark Andrews.
There you go.
Yeah. Yep. 2 years ago, it was if you didn't have was it Mark Andrews or Kittle? It was back-to-back years. I can't remember if it was BBM 1, 2, or 3 at this point.
BBM 2, I think it was like Andrews who it was like a must-have, and he was doing it with the backup.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was, right? Oh, it was like you needed Andrews to get you through. Nobody else had Huntley, so Andrews gets you through. And then it was like, which differentiation tight end did you have to go in tandem with him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that backup tight end is kind of like, that's the guy you're sneaking in, right? It's like you want tight end 1 to get you there, tight end 2 to win it for you, which is like such a silly, stupid game we play.
And that's why for me, those like that other ancillary guy I try and have stacked quite a bit of time because it just seems like it's the most beneficiary thing to have that low leverage tight end just be stacked with your one of your quarterbacks is what I try and pull off as much as I can. I'm waiting for Clay here because he put that he's about to get funky, I believe that he said in the chat.
He's got his endorphins are flowing. He's on the Peloton. He's not thinking straight. He's going to do something absolutely insane.
It's crazy being a calendar year away from Russell Wilson and Geno Smith trade and watching their ADPs flip and all the conversations last year. Hey, man, we got KC versus the Broncos in week 17. Let's go for it. Blah, blah, blah. Man, this Dalton Schultz. Yeah, so he goes the Dalton double stack. It's quite obvious here, boys. You guys aren't playing into the narrative. It's the Dalton double stack, and Andy Dalton to cap it all off is coming in the 18th round.
Andy Dalton. Oh, we've got a little tight end run going here.
Good for us because we got Kittle in the bag there.
Oh yeah, easy. Dang, this Kyler fall.
Ooh, there's something fun here, but we don't have to do that because we have a lot of back stacks.
What do you like, Neumy?
Well, can you just go down on our squad for a second? I didn't know. Did we have another plan for stacking one of these wide receivers up with another or no?
As far as taking one of their
a quarterback, one of their quarterback. I didn't know if we had a.
Yeah, we got a plan. It's Kyler Murray right here with James Conner because I wanted to take him last time.
Okay, that's what
I want. We got 2 elite quarterbacks, and we got one of them in the 13th round. I don't care if he plays 8 games.
He's working out.
I was just making sure what your plan was because if not, I had another idea. But
all right, you guys, my eyes go here.
My eyes was literally Jordan Love and Dubes. So
to do a little stack,
yeah. But I mean, Kyler's just fine at 144. So with a Patrick Mahomes squad, like you know what I mean.
Who do you guys like?
I think Dubs.
Okay. You like it
Dobbs, Dubes.
Yeah, Dubes.
You like
Dobbs.
It over the stack?
Yeah, I don't. I'm just like I know. I don't want to go against the family. I know MVS is a Neumy.
God.
He's got the Neumy stamp, but I think there's other KC wideouts that like we can take late that I think I would like to stack.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
Sounds
that's
good.
fine. I mean, MVS is, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's more for dailies of that, and obviously, he's perfect for best ball. But
yeah, he is.
I mean, his profile is perfect if he scores. But
interesting comment here from the Pound, noted Battle Royale winner and streamer in his own right, talking about how he thinks ADPs are sharper sooner this year, just in general. Your guys' take that? He just says more people doing content, consuming content earlier in the season.
Yeah, I agree.
Tends to make sense.
We had Pete doing a kickoff show with Pat, like that wasn't happening last year when these contests dropped. Like they just dropped, and I think people they made their schedule like this. I mean, it was soon as the contest dropped, boom, we're streaming. So from the get go, people, it's been marketed. So yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
ADP is gonna be really sharp. Like it's getting to the point where, and I think that more analysts should be like reference. Like if you got to get with this or you're gonna get left behind. You know, I still listen to some fantasy football podcasts that like don't really talk about best ball, and yeah, they're managed league focused, but like to not use Underdog ADP as like a point of reference, I just think is like really foolish. Like this is the most like insanely like valuable like crowdsourced data that like you can like really find as far as like a true market goes. And Svi, come on, dude. Really? Jerick McKinnon?
Oh, he took him? Oh, damn. I thought we could wait one more round.
Yeah.
We were talking about it in the private chat there.
Son of a...
It'll be interesting to see where McKinnon's ADP settles in. This team was set up and was begging for Jerick McKinnon.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're gonna have to settle for Deneric Prince.
Yeah, it's Prince team, baby. We're gonna be 2 for 2 on Prince builds.
The artist formerly known as Prince time.
Damn straight.
CEH, come on down.
Oh, come on down and keep walking. Not on my team. Next call down the right.
I like that.
This is Nez is on Forrest Gump. CH is coming on. He's like, seats taken. Can't sit here.
Chip, appreciate you, man. Yeah, we got 51 watching and not 50 likes. Please do us a good favor. We'd like to keep coming out. We'd like to keep showing up here. Yeah, if you're watching and you don't hit the like button, you're not going to win BBM. That's just how it works. And we had 70 something before when we were talking a little hoops, and we don't even have 50 likes. Come on, guys. Hit us up, please, and thank you. I will plead. Yeah, this is the plan, Paul. The plan is I'm not going to commit like Pete did to doing 150 on stream, but you can bet your ass the majority of mine are going to be on stream just because of the kind of guy I am.
I'm not going to be able to like stop drafting. Like I do want to put more of an emphasis on the high stakes tournaments that come out on Underdog. Just because I really, really enjoy 4 out of 12 advancing, and I like how that looks whenever I'm sweating. It feels good to see like the bigger dollar winning when you advance in those high dollar tournaments. But like, there's no way I'm going to be able to stop myself from drafting 150 times in BBM. There's just no way.
My bankroll might stop me, but that's about
if you keep stacking twins, yeah, I think you might not make it. Sorry.
Hey, sorry, Benintendi robbed freaking Correa in the top of the first. My apologies.
Benintendi, who does he think he is? $100 million man.
Then
one thing they don't tell you about the wind blowing out in Chicago is it's also 30 degrees apparently. Yeah. it was freaking cold yesterday.
Chilly. Well, yeah, it's kind of the Midwest up here. You know, if newsflash, we are chilly up here in the Midwest. It is cold and it is breezy. There's not much to stop the wind, especially if you get to North Dakota. Good luck. You're gonna be blowing all over the road.
Hot take, I kind of like Ken Gainwell, even though we have Penny.
That is hot. That's a no-no.
Yeah. We got to reframe the way we think about handicapping certain backfields. Maybe that's a conversation for a different day. But you need to cue somebody before we auto
Fine.
draft Trey Lance, and I
All
sign
right,
out.
Fine.
I'm
We're
Well,
going to
stack
best
with
ball.
Elijah
That
Mitchell.
easy. That
We're
easy,
going to
huh?
best ball. We're going to best ball hell thanks to Nez there. Who do you guys like next? Please don't say a running back.
Probably. I mean, there's some good wide receivers left. Renfro, Downs, and I like taking another shot on he's below where I can see now.
Taking
Scroll
Hunter
down just a
Renfro.
little bit more. It's time. You
know
know what?
why?
Because I was
You
on
know-
him last year, and I won't be this year, and he's gonna go off this year. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you why we're on Hunter Renfro. I'm not sure if you guys have heard. Week 17 matters. Correlation. Divisional opponents. Kansas City versus Las Vegas. Week 17, baby.
You're telling me this now for the first time.
Chiefs Raiders.
I had no
There
idea
you go.
correlation was a factor in this contest. This is new to me.
That's why you got to tune in.
What is
That's why you
correlation?
got to hang out with the sharps, eh?
But if you scroll down just a teeny bit on the player pool, there was a wide receiver that Joshua Palmer. I know that and people are like questionable about his talent and whatnot, and they added some wide receivers there. I still think he represents like a unique type of wideout in the chart with the Chargers that like separates him and gives him a unique role that he's always going to have with a healthy Justin Herbert, where I don't know that enough people are going to be putting emphasis on the fact that he was playing with broken ribs for like a whole season essentially.
Good point.
I don't know.
I talked a little bit about it. No, we talked about it with I think it was Crane the other day, or maybe it was Hayden.
Might have been.
I think it was Hayden on the Friday because you weren't there.
I was MIA.
Yeah, where he's a professional wide receiver. You know, like
Dude,
he's gonna find a role, and he's going to be utilized at the low end. He's going to be utilized in like 50% of snaps, and he's going to be like a rotational piece or whatever. At the high end, he's a contingency value play where your team can feel safe as like, hey, we're not dead in the water if Big Mike Will gets hurt, because we have some depth at the position to move him around. Whereas like the Jalen Guyton narrative might just be stone dead, right? Like, I mean, in theory, if he was, yeah.
No, I think that's a really sharp play, and I think that's something to like capitalize on, because we have hive minds and bubbles in our communities, and one of the opinions that's thrown around in these bubbles is like Joshua Palmer isn't good. Joshua Palmer isn't good. You know, like it's something that gets regurgitated over and over, and what if instead we, our beloved analysts and people who do streams were saying Joshua Palmer is good. Joshua Palmer is good. He has so much room to run, like the people that he's going, it's just a matter of like getting stuck to certain opinions on guys, and, just understanding the situation that he's in. And like Neumy mentioned, bring up the contingency value, like that contingency value he has is huge.
There is
proven that their two main wideouts cannot stay healthy.
Yeah.
Right.
And are probably not as good as we think. Hot take. Take. I don't know.
Market seems to think so from where they were valued last year. So
no, I know. But yeah. I'm just like, we watch. How many times we have to watch the Chargers like disappoint us and be like, maybe this team isn't as good as we think. I don't know. Yeah, Vape gets it.
There is a player that I'm thinking of in my mind.
Ooh.
Who I like.
I wish there was like a chat that like the public couldn't see, so that way I could know.
Oh, good point.
Oh my lord. I was actually thinking like,
damn, that'd be a good idea.
What chat this could be for a second. I was like, oh my god, he's referring to the private chat. Goodness gracious.
It got my wheels turning. I'll give like a little why it got my wheels turning.
Okay.
It got my wheels turning because of the contingency value discussion we just had.
Okay. We are gonna need another tight end at some point.
For sure. Yeah. I think this pick for us right now is going to be tight end, wide receiver, shut it down, finish with running back.
Yeah. I would say a classic 2-6-8 is in our future.
Yeah.
All right.
My wide receiver in which I was liking on this roster, but Joshua Palmer just fell to us too.
I know, and
is
I just talked about him.
is Van Jefferson for similar narrative to that, but easier path to playing time with Robert Woods now gone. I think he's good at the position. His dad was a wide receivers coach, and this guy's got nothing but love over the years.
Robert Woods was gone in 2022 as well.
Who else am I thinking? Allen Robinson filled the void.
Yeah.
So Woods was gone, then Robinson, then now the void.
Yeah, give me a healthy Stafford throwing bombs to Van Jefferson.
The Tutu Atwell.
Who do you guys like here? Zach Ertz to stack with Kyler?
Kinda.
Okay.
I mean, like, is Zach Ertz gonna die? You know, just never. He's just always gonna be around.
Yeah, that and like is how good is McBride even if any if at all, like, you know what I mean, like,
yeah, according to Hayden, not good.
Yeah, that's what he said on the show. Yeah, coming out of Colorado State was just the way that their offense was designed and funneled. That's the yeah, that's a good point.
Chuba Hubbard just went after Ertz and might have been a better pick than Ertz, but I like the play with stacking Kyler if Kyler's back and we get like that stack, obviously. But Hubbard is getting a lot of love right now as far as being a really nice late round pick.
Yeah, Noah's a sharp player. Noah knows what's up. PC bro for a long time. He was actually in our original when we made the best ball site. He was in the inaugural draft.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, there was supposed to be a 10K that turned into a 1K.
But
videos out there on the internet somewhere about it all.
Yeah, I'm a little shocked. My boy Kenny Pickett. I think everybody just assumed that we were gonna take him, and they're just letting him fall. Sam Howell goes over Kenny Pickett. I mean,
I love it.
That's a little rich, I will say, for a guy that wasn't
get a grip.
I don't know, man. Sam Howell. When people forget when Sam Howell went back for that year at UNC. He was like everybody's QB1 at the start of the year. Everybody's for the draft.
Yeah.
And then he underperformed. He didn't whatever. Then he becomes a value. It kind of was like, nah. I was gonna say it's kind of like Will Levis treatment, but it wasn't that. Like Will got steamed late, opposed to like being steamed early and then falling. Anyways, I just think that Sam Howell was once accredited as being a very, very talented quarterback.
I agree with that statement.
Yeah, he fell in his final year of college, and then now he's kind of just been off the radar. I think he started one game last year.
And they don't have any they don't have anybody there, right? There's
I'm not sure they have anybody there. I'm not sure who the backup is, but the only reason Sam Howell started is because Heineke said start Sam Howell. Ron Rivera, man, he's over under 4 weeks till he gets fired.
He should have already been, but yeah, I'll give him that. I'll give him 6 weeks and he's gone.
New ownership's already eyeing up replacement.
Yeah, that's fair.
I do like Howell though. I agree with all of this. I'm just saying over Pickett though. Come on.
Chip's getting ahead of some interesting ADPs here too. Like getting ahead on Tim Patrick, assuming the Cortland Sutton move. Getting ahead on Reed's been getting some love in the kind of like.
Oh yeah, they brought Jacoby Brissett in
draft Twitter space.
That's what I forgot.
Yeah, Joshua Palmer with like the contingency value factor plus stacked with Herbert. I like that.
How's our boy Team 3
dude, man?
Up?
Okay. Tannehill late like this, 18th round Tannehill is so smart. Like Svi,
I like that.
That's a good pick. I like that a lot.
Nez, now I can see it. I can see Jacoby Brissett is just Ron Rivera's type of guy. And it doesn't take long for him to be like, nah, we're done with this experiment after like a 2-3 games, and it wasn't even that bad. He's like, no, it's Jacoby Brissett time. This is his offense. Like, oh gosh.
Yeah, there's definitely some QB drama going on there. I mean, it's not going to be handed over to him, but I do think, yeah, I don't know. Because, Ron wants to keep his job. And so Brissett's probably he is the more pro-ready QB. He was good last year for Cleveland. He was legitimately good.
Yeah.
And now he's, Ron wants to win some football games. Wouldn't surprise me, but Howell will probably end the season as a starter. But Jacoby Brissett deserves better.
What are we thinking here to end this RB room off? What are you eyeing there, John?
I was just thinking this Kelly pick's really interesting because if you assume Austin Eckler, they've shown that they like him and show that they like him more than Spiller. If Austin Eckler does a holdout or misses some time or whatever, like that Kelly pick's kind of fun. I really like the Ford pick that Clay did there. I've talked about Ford here before, how he was a big winner from the draft, in my opinion, where they didn't bring in a backup and that role has been cleared for Kareem Hunt's out. They could still bring him back easily. Yeah, I don't know. I'm very, very open to suggestions late here, but I do think it should be running back, and probably shouldn't be another handcuff.
It's not a handcuff. You're playing.
Okay.
Have fun staying poor.
Who do you want? Oh, Chase Claypool in the 18th. That's fun too.
Wow, he's an 18th round pick. That is so funny.
Chase Edmonds?
No, maybe Deuce Vaughn.
Okay. They could still bring Zeke back, and I don't know, playing the Deuce Vaughn game again. Yeah,
I'll say something that you would have never gone with, but just to hear me out on this team after this pick gets made is
it's made. This has been happening with Underdog on the desktop recently, where the last pick of any draft just freezes.
So we made
FYI,
a bet,
if anyone's listening.
So we made a bet on the Arizona Cardinals being better than people think because we took James Conner and we took Kyler Murray and we have
Zach Ertz.
And Zach Ertz.
Yep.
I don't know, man. Maybe a little. Keontae Ingram looked good whenever they actually played him last year.
Yeah, he did.
Just in case the wheels fall off, you just get a running back there. I'm kind of leaning into the handcuff thing. I don't think it's as bad of a thesis as we have come to think.
I think I want to say it was Herzig when he was on the show last year when we talked about it a little bit, and maybe he threw some tweets out about it. I'm pretty sure it was Herzig, but I don't want to put words in his mouth. But I'm going to do it anyways. I think he said that from a uniqueness angle and aspect, it also makes a lot of sense because when you're dealing with such a large field like this, no one's doing it. So maybe that kind of attributed. It'd be interesting to get Pat's opinion based on what he did. Was it Jeff Wilson plus Sony Michel on his winning team, where he did? Yeah, it was either Mostert.
I think it was Mostert and Michel.
Mostert.
Oh, yeah,
Mostert and Michel. Yeah. It was one of the two, right? Yeah, because I guess Jeff Wilson hadn't been traded yet. But he kind of just played into that, and be interesting to note if hey, was that by design? Was that because of what Herzig was saying or what you were saying in that, or is that just kind of in this draft I just did that?
He said it was when I'm pretty sure I remember him saying he did it was basically he's gonna take 2 picks and hopefully one of them worked out as the back and kind of emerged.
Like we've kind of been talking about is when it's right, and I'm just I look back at some of my BBM teams. I just have so many zeros at running back because I'm taking these home run shots on guys that just didn't work, and I could have really used points where I was taking these home run shots instead. So
yeah,
I think doing it appropriately is obviously the caveat there. But yeah, just my final parting thoughts.
Love it. Yeah. Good little notion to end on. We're gonna have lots more time to discuss all this stuff. Good discussion off the top about some conversations which nobody else on any other program will be having. So if you want any incentive to hit that hit that subscribe, hit that follow, that notification shit, the opening conversation from today, nobody else is having that. Literally no one. So just, food for thought there if you're into the daily streets. Appreciate the good stream shouts. Thank you for everybody hanging out here. We'll do some MLB drafts tomorrow. We'll be back on the MLB channel. It'll just be Neumy and I, because Nez #HowRich is going to Miami.
I actually am not doing that anymore. We're
No!
gonna stay back because I need to hit these streams. So something ended up coming up, and we just did.
Okay.
We've been like, as people that watch the show know, as you guys know, we've been doing a lot of travel. So like we were like, it was okay.
That sucks. I was excited
Okay.
for you in those pictures.
Here we
man.
go.
I'm a big guy, so I was excited for you.
Spin zone. Nez HowRich says no to F1 in Miami to be dedicated to the stream instead. That's the lead tomorrow. Nez is so dedicated to the stream that he turned down Miami, partying on a yacht with Pitbull.
Yes, that is what I turned down. Yes, that is the narrative.
Go to F1 in Miami.
No,
so good. All right, everybody will be back tomorrow. So great news. So everyone will be there for MLB stream tomorrow. Neumy.
Yeah, one thing I just want to say, I'm trying to be in contact with Baseball. If anyone can let me know if he's alive. I have not even, I haven't got a response from him in a couple of weeks. Hoping he's good. We're gonna be doing. Well, that's done. That was done a week or two ago. So I was hoping that day. Never mind then. Thank you for that nugget. Either way, golf streams will be coming for the Albatross Returns, whether it be on this main one. I'm gonna try my freaking darndest to get these guys to at least do 15 minutes on the main stream of golf.
Okay.
If we do it, either way, we're gonna have a stream or two coming for you. So I know I've had a lot of people reach out. I have been totally disconnected from golf and anything about that. His sheet, I don't know if it's updated or not fully, so I can't speak on that. But when I do get that, I'll send a tweet out letting you guys know that sheet's fully updated and we're racking and rolling. So I just want to let people know because I've had people reach out and ask. So
cool. So stay tuned, PGA Unhinged,
yes,
and
sir. Maybe
maybe I will capitulate and throw a couple dollars in it like I did with the Masters, and I will make some definitive stances like Patrick Reed is never the guy you need. All right. On behalf of Neumy, Nez, myself, we will be back tomorrow. Everybody's favorite time of the show. Good luck in the NBA streets tonight. Enjoy drafting BBM4. Everybody's favorite time of the show. The end. Peace.